Just a little introduction. This is a work in progress, so be kind. I used it just to teach myself WordPress. I'm more of a Drupal person. I've worked on some large-scale media sites, ad-supported, but even then I never really did every aspect of it. So this is really trying to concentrate on every single aspect: content creation, ad tags, promotion, analytics, SEO, the whole thing. So the site is really a set of recipes for mocktails, which are non-alcoholic cocktails. So let's get into it. Before I started, choosing a domain name is always something that somebody wants to grab for right away. You think of something really cool, so you want to grab it. You really should check and see what's available on social media. If you're going to do any sort of promotion on social media, see what handles are already available or not available. Also, DBA is kind of a nice thing to do. It's called Doing Business As. It's very easy to do at the county clerk's office. Costs less than $100. It makes you a little bit official. It's not really, totally legal, but it gives you a little bit of gravitas. And I'll show you how that comes in handy a little bit later. Hosting service, I don't have any really strong opinions about it. These are, I think, the 3 consumer-friendly ones for WordPress. They do manage WordPress. I use GoDaddy just because I have a bunch of sites and it's easier to keep it all in one place. So the basic tools and templates that I use, Astra and Elementor, which are very popular. The great thing about that being popular is there's tons of documentation and lots of support for it. I used a bunch of plugins, which I'll show you in a minute. Adobe Typekit, which gives you custom fonts. You can also I paid for that, but I pay for it for a lot of sites, so it sort of came along for the ride. You can also use Google Fonts for custom fonts, which are free. Similar sort of implementation. Google Analytics is industry standard. Google Adsense, I'll show you how that works. And social media business accounts. So the plugins, there's nothing really abnormal here. Astra starter sites, that's required for that Astra template. Elementor, I paid for Elementor Pro because it made it easier to implement the custom fonts. If you use their plugin, then the fonts show up in the editor as opposed to just as a class. Feeds the RSS feed. I'll show you how that works. That was just kind of a nice little RSS feed to get some newsy type new content. Monster Insights Analytics is for Google Analytics. It's just a really easy way to implement it. GDPR cookie consent, I'll show you how that works. Rank Math SEO is like Yoast, sort of a competitor to Yoast. I thought it was a little bit easier. They say it's a little bit better for beginners. Duplicate Post and WP Forms Lite are just sort of housekeeping. So, I'm not going to show you how to implement the site, how to put together WordPress. I think you can either know how to do it or you can find it. There's a lot of documentation about that. But the basic site, it's a standard hierarchy. Homepage, channel page, recipe post. The post is your actual dynamic content. So the channel is generated automatically. The newsfeed is, newsfeed and celebrity lists are really done to help with SEO. The newsfeed is using that Feedsy plugin. So basically what I did was took a Google News alert for healthy mocktails, and instead of doing an email alert, I had it create an RSS feed, which is easier than it sounds, and then plugged it in so you can see it right there. Those 4 headlines are generated automatically. I don't have to update it. It just sort of happens. So it keeps the site content really fresh, which is good for SEO. The celebrity list is similar for SEO. It's just sort of an attempt to get celebrity names in there and also external links, which helps for SEO. Newsletter contact is basically that. There's a contact info and also a newsletter that you can sign up for. Also, these pages, which are sort of necessary, there's the cookie policy, which you see all over the place. That was a plugin that was really easy to implement. This one actually gives you the option so that you can opt in or out of cookies and you can still use the site. Terms and conditions and privacy policy, really sort of necessary these days, and this is where the DBA can come in handy. You can see I was able to say, welcome to Healthy Mocktails, and use that name legally instead of using my name. So it's a little bit nicer. I'm not sure, if it really protects me legally, but I think it's a little bit more official. Content. So photography is probably the hardest part to do or get. It's the most expensive. Sorry. I used Adobe Stock for these photos. I happen to have it in any case, and I had a trial. I got 10 free photos, and I think I lucked out with these top view of drinks. I got several dozen of them. So basically, I took the photos and came up with recipes or cobbled them together to match the photos, which is a little bit backwards, but I think it worked out well. So I was able to get some content in there for very little money. The other list here, Unsplash, I do Pexels. Those are free stock photo places, but you have to be careful and really read the rights. Some of them are for editorial only, and you can't use it for advertising, so really check to make sure that you can use it legally. And some of them want attribution, so look into it and be careful because they will find it and come after you. So ad units. I use Google Adsense, and I'll show you a little bit how it works. This is just an example. You can see there's one down here and then one over there. This is on the recipe template, so it's done on a global basis. Same with that one. You just put in one tag and it refreshes automatically. So Google AdSense, it's kind of a two-stage process. You have to have your site verified, so they have a little wizard for it, and you put in your website and it gives you some unique code. You have to put that in your header. I think I did this manually. It's pretty simple. And then you submit it and then you wait. And they really do check. I've had sites rejected. In fact, this site was rejected because I had placeholder content. I don't know if people have ever seen like lorem ipsum, the Greek text placeholder. So it came back and said, you're not in English. So I had to actually make sure that it was all done in English. But it's nice to know that someone is looking or something is looking, and it's intelligent enough to know that it's not viable content. So you submit it and you wait. It can take up to 2 weeks. And assuming that it goes through, then you go through another wizard. It's pretty simple. You select the type of ad that you want, display ad, text ad. You can say you want it responsive. And then you just take this code and you just put it as an HTML block, wherever you want an ad to appear. So again, you put in the template here, and then I think that one is maybe static, but any place you want an ad, it'll show up. And it's great. I mean, it works really well. You don't need an ad sales team. It's just, they take care of everything. The other nice thing is, it gives you all kinds of analytics, which I'll show you in a minute. So we've got the site basically set up, so how do you promote it? So one way to promote it is through social media. So there's a few hooks you can put in there. One is the follow us. We've all seen these, follow us and then share. So follow us points to your business pages, which I'll show you in a second. And then share obviously shares the content onto people's news feeds. And most of those are really blocks. Elementor has those, so you don't have to really do much. You can customize it to make it look like your site. And it's pretty simple to do. So the business pages. This is a lot of work, to be honest. I did 3 that I thought were appropriate. Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest. There's also Twitter and LinkedIn. You can see I was able to get the branding up there. It looks pretty good. But it is tricky to set up. Facebook is especially strict. You always have to go back to a personal account. Instagram's a little bit more flexible. Pinterest is the same. But they will, if you start doing suspicious things, like changing the name, that's why I said in the beginning, make sure that you can get those handles. If you start switching it around, you'll raise a lot of flags, and they will disable it. They're obviously getting more and more strict, and once they disable it, you're kind of hosed. You can't do promotion. It's very hard to get it back. So let's assume that everything worked, and you can see on the very left there it says Manage Promotion, so let's pretend we clicked on that. And this is how you set up a paid promotion. So this is an ad that's going to appear on Facebook, and it's going to point to your site. So again, it's another wizard. It's pretty simple. This is basically 1 or 2 clicks, and you can see on the right, on the left-hand one, it did that all automatically. It just pulled the header image and the tagline and the link, obviously. And you can go in and adjust it, put in a new image, whatever you want, which I did. And I'll show you the results. And then here's the really amazing Facebook part. You can go in and select your target audience, and you can get really, really granular here. And this is why people love Facebook. This is why people hate it. You can go in and you can pick demographics, geo-targeting, age groups, all kinds of categories. And they're very careful with their wording. They say these are people who have expressed an interest. They don't say that these are people who are. They've expressed an interest. And they're very, very careful with that. And they have very strict guidelines, which I can show you briefly. This is the 32 guidelines to create an ad. And this is just the top level. They go down, and each one of these guidelines has about 4 or 5 paragraphs with graphics showing what you can and can't do. And you do have to be careful, because if they disable that account because you did something that was, violated their community standards, if you do it too many times, they'll disable your account. And the scary thing is, since Facebook goes back to your personal account, even if you have multiple business accounts, maybe they're clients, if they disable your account, all your accounts go. All your businesses are just doomed. And it's very, very hard to get it back. So that's it for that. So here's an ad unit. We'll assume everything went okay. So I was able to change the photo I made. This is a little carousel. So you can see the arrow. It rotates through a bunch of different recipes. And there's the mobile version. So then I didn't show this, but there's basic run times and how much money you want to spend. It's pretty simple. So I didn't spend a lot of money. I spent $20 in 4 days, so that's $5 a day. This is just a test to see really how it works, and it really does work. You can see I got 21 clicks, and this isn't even 4 days. This is like a day and a half. 21 clicks, 28 engagements out of 560 impressions. So down at the bottom you can see the percentage. 3.75 click-through rate is not great for Facebook. For a banner ad, that's pretty good. A standard banner ad, generic banner ad, can get 0.2% click-through rate. That's sort of a really just generic ad running out there on the web. So 3.75 is pretty good. But you can see it cost me 31 cents a click, which is not that great. The interesting thing is this last window on the right, those are people who liked the ad. And it actually gives you their names and tells you who they are. So if you're running a really small business, say it's a service or a store, you can actually contact those people and say, hey, come in and I'll give you a coupon or discount or something. So that's pretty good. For $6, you get 3 really qualified leads for that type of business. It's not great for, it's not a lot of traffic, but it works. So here's the analytics from Google, which correspond to those click-throughs. And you can see the spike there. Again, these numbers are tiny. I've got all of 21 page views, but that's from the promotion. And it's 475% increase. That's pretty good. And you can see the pie chart. The blue is social, so that all came from social promotion. And it also shows you that it's mobile, which is interesting and nice to know. And then the final part is, after all of this, you get your Adsense analytics. And how much money do we make? Not very much. The 252, to be honest, is from weeks ago. I think that's me clicking on it and banging on it and getting the site together. But 21 clicks, $6. obviously you're not gonna get a lot of traffic. But there's potential. What I haven't done is SEO, and I also haven't shown you, there's Amazon affiliate links, obviously recipes, so those are ingredients, you can click through to Amazon. So there's potential for revenue there. And it's a nice model, and it was a great learning experience. So, any questions?
How can we read up on this?
What's that?
How can we read up on this? They already have the sources of information.
Well, I mean, that's kind of why I put this together, because most sources seem to be, you know, how to install WordPress, how to use Elementor, that sort of thing. And they're sort of, but this was really a little bit of everything, so I can't point you to one single source to read up on it. I really had to dig through and find various resources all over the place.
There's no bibliography or anything like that.
What's that?
There's no bibliography to go with
I
this.
haven't made one, no, sorry.
And what's your name?
Dave Johnson. Is that it? Okay.